Hi everybody, my name is Kristen Reiter. I am a 19-year veteran of the Chief Joseph Trail Ride, and that is the topic of today's TED Talk. So did I just date myself by saying TED Talk? Probably. But I want to talk to you, we're going to have a bunch of videos on this ride covering different topics. So I don't want this to be an hour-long discussion. I'm just talking at you. Because I don't have feedback, I'm not talking to a person. I want to just make this a video about what this ride is, so you have an understanding of what the Chief Joseph Trail Ride is, what a progressive ride is, how it's run, and then what the support is that we have to offer, and what we expect of you. So we're going to have more videos in this series. We're going to have videos on how to prepare for this ride, how to prepare your horse, what to pack, how to pack it, how to plan. We already had a video on horses, rentals, trying to arrange for drivers, whether you need a driver or not. So we're gonna build upon that also, but this video today is basically to cover what is Chief Joe's Trail Ride. And I'm not going into the history, I'm just talking about how this ride functions. So, what the Chief Joseph Trail Ride is a progressive trail ride. What does that mean? Progressive trail ride. Don't you all progress when you're going down the trail? Yeah, well, progressive trail ride is when we're on the Joe, the Chief Joseph Trail Ride covers that Nez Perce Trail. It's the trail that the Nez Perce took when they were being pursued by the cavalry back in 1877. If you don't know about that, you need to know about that. Get on the internet and learn about it. But we will learn about it on the ride. You don't have to feel like you have to do a private lesson before you come. But if you're interested, you want to know more about the history, we're going to be putting some resource pages on our Chief Joseph Trail Ride Inc. Facebook page and on our chiefjosephtrailride.org website. It's not done yet, it will be. So there's some homework for you if you want it. But anyways, so the Chief Joseph Trail Ride covers the Nez Perce Trail, 1,300-mile trail. And then in order for us to conquer that, because we can't ride 1,300 miles in a week, and most of us can't take the time off of work to try to get that done, even if we had a year to get it done. So we do 100 miles at a time, give or take. And so we'll start at point A, ride to point B, and then the next year we pick up at point B and we ride to point C. And the next year we take from point C and go to point D. So as each year goes, we're progressing across the trail. And then on the trail itself, each year we have the ride is scheduled you can arrive as early as the Saturday before the ride. The ride itself officially starts at dinner on Sunday, and then we actually start riding on Monday, and we ride Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then most people overnight and then leave on Saturday. So that's the typical week for the Chief Joseph Trail Ride. It's usually held at the end of July. Sometimes it's been the first week in August, so the dates can fluctuate. We're hoping that we'll be able to get dates announced earlier in the year, hopefully even ideally the year before would be great, so that people can take time off of work before they have their deadlines for vacation requests. But I have no control over that, so that's just what we're gunning for and hoping for. So that's when about it is. It's a week-long ride. So on the Joe, like each day we'll ride a certain amount of mileage, and we try to cover about 100 miles each week. So a typical day, I mean, I've been on rides that have been as short as 11 miles and as long as 32. I want to say somebody said once that we had a ride that was as long as 36, but I'd have to look through records. And I haven't, there's people that have been riding longer even before me. So don't quote me on that, but I know I have logged a 32 miler on the Joe. So, so sometimes you're in the saddle for a long time. We do not walk. We don't do anything faster than a walk, because we have all ages of riders. You must be, if you're a youth rider, you must be 12 years old to ride. And then sky's the limit. As long as you can get on your saddle and be safe in the saddle, we want you out there with us. So because we have all ages, because we have all levels of experience, horses have to be 4 years of age or older, but some of these, younger horses are still learning too. So we have to try to keep it safe and sane. We're not out there, running amok. So we have to make sure that we're progressing at a decent pace. We usually I think it's about 3 to 3.5 mile pace. We do stop halfway through the day for lunch. That depends on where we're at. Typically it's about a half hour. And there are sometimes breaks to let people catch up, or was water breaks, stuff like that. So we'll talk about that again later. I'm getting off topic. So what happens when you head to the ride? So on the Saturday before the ride, you are allowed to arrive, but not before noon. And the reason for this is because we have an entire support crew that has to get into that campsite before everybody else and set camp up. Because we are fully supported, we have a cook vehicle of some sort. Usually it's a trailer, and they have to set that up with its canopies and all the cookie gear, and the reefer truck, and the supply trailer, because in our cargo supply trailer is a dance stage. So we have a stage that we use for our speakers, educational presentations, and dancing and entertainment. So where else can you go in the backcountry and dance on a stage? So they're gonna have to have all that set up, all the equipment for feeding us, all of the equipment for making sure we have somewhere to get our lunches from. That's a whole different station. Of course, they have their check-in area together. We have a physician, a ride physician, so he's gonna have his rig set up in this kind of circle of wagons, right? We have the veterinarian, we have the farrier, so they're gonna wanna put all the real critical people, the ones that are helping this ride function, they're gonna be in the central area. So they have to get there first, because if you get there first, you might have to rearrange all of your stuff after you've all set yourself up, because you're where they need to be. So that's the limit. You cannot get in before noon. So after noon, typically, and you have to look in your rider handout to make sure that, I should call that a participant handout, to make sure that that hasn't changed, but typically that's what it is. Then after that, you can arrive at any time. The ride officially begins at dinner time on Sunday. And we usually have introductions and kind of go through some housekeeping kind of things about how to tie the pickets and stuff like that. So it's important, you want to be there for that first meeting at dinner time. So when you arrive in camp, if you've got horses with you, they need to be vet checked, and there will be a station for that. They need to be inspected to make sure that those horses are arriving healthy and that they match their papers. Because if they are Appaloosas and you're using them, you've registered them, they're participating for the medallion or the trail ride programs, their identity needs to be confirmed. So you'll need to bring your papers with you. That means for the Appaloosas, you need their registration papers. For all horses, you'll need your health papers, which include Coggins, signed health certificates, official health documents, plus there will be, it's available on the Appaloosa.com website, the declaration of fitness that needs to be signed by your veterinarian as well. So you'll need to have those. And for those of you who don't come from a state that has brand inspection, you're gonna be like, what are you talking about? Because I came from Illinois and Wisconsin, and when they're talking about brand inspections, I'm like, my horse isn't branded. I don't need to do that. It's an inspection to show that your horse has been documented. And so it's kind of like a little horse passport. At least one of mine. It's funny because I've got one that it's like laminated like his own little driver's license. And then the other ones are just a sheet of paper. So it kind of depends on your state and how they're doing it. And they're doing so many of these things online now. So a lot of this stuff's just printed on a piece of paper. You have to have a brand inspection. If you're going to be doing this ride more than once, I would recommend getting a lifetime brand inspection. And you don't have to pay for it every time. You just pull it out and show it to the inspector, who's going to be a state representative from the agricultural department, health department, equine health department. And they'll just inspect it, make sure that, yep, this horse is what you say it is, and then they'll give you paperwork back. If you're only planning to do the ride once, then just pay for it once. If you're coming from a state that doesn't offer brand inspection, when you bring it in, the government official that's going to be there to inspect horses will do it for you. You just have to be prepared to pay for it. I can't quote, what they're going to charge. I would just say you can either contact the state you're going to be going to. So this year will be Montana. And then you can see what they would charge for brand inspection if you contact them. Maybe it's something I can look for and see if I can find it, and I'll post it on our Facebook page or get it somewhere prominent so people can see. But I think I paid something like $35 for an annual, and it was like $75 for a lifetime. So to me, it just made sense to get the lifetime. Anyway, so that's something you'll need to know about if it's off your radar. If you're not bringing a horse, then you just come into camp and you make sure you want to check in so we know you're there, because you verify you're there. And then there's going to be a rider packet, or I keep deferring to rider. It's a participant packet. So that's where you're going to have things like your pins, your t-shirts. We have a lanyard with your name tag, and in the past we've had rosters. I don't know if we're still doing that. Sometimes there's information on the area. It just kind of depends on each year what gets put in the envelope, but there'll be a rider packet. It'll have stuff. So make sure you pick it up though, because your t-shirt's going to be in there. So and we do need to know that you've arrived and we're not wondering where you're at. So that's really your only responsibility upon arrival, is just get in there. If you've got your horses and there's room at your trailer to tie them to the trailer, you can do that. If we're in an area and they'll let you know if it's okay or not, where there's trees, you can high tie to trees if you've got permission to do so. We another unique thing about the ride is we provide pickets for our horses. So there is an actual crew that manages the pickets. And the pickets are made out of steel A-frames with real thick cable stretched across them, put on high tension so that they're nice and taut, and you tie the horses to that, and it's brilliant. It works great. So you can tie to that. If you need somewhere to tie your horses, we are not allowed to use corrals of any type. They're just too problematic when you have this many horses. We have over 100 horses come on this ride. I would love to see it get back to 200. I know before it was even double that. That might be too many, but I would love to see us get back up to 200 horses. So, and we've got the capability of doing it. So let's fill the pickets up. But because we have that many horses, the corrals just don't work. So they're not welcome. Don't bring them. Don't even put them in your trailer. Save the space for other things. And then on Sunday, the crew's going to come around with the ATV and trailer and drop off the hay for your horses. And you typically get a bale per horse on Sunday, and then typically on Wednesday. So, and that is plenty with the bales we've had in the past. It's been plenty to feed your horses through the week. I feed my horses grain, so I'll bring grain for my horses, and Raiden, my gelding, he's a little bit special. So he gets supplements, and so I just make sure that I bring the stuff for him that he needs. whatever it is you feed your horse at home, you want to bring it with you. I will bring hay to the ride with me as well, because if there's something wrong with the hay, there's not enough hay, I just always want to make sure that I don't have to worry about whether or not my horses have food. And I'm coming from many states away, and so it's going to be a journey to get there and then a journey to get home, and I need to make sure I've got enough hay to feed them. If you are bringing hay into Montana, it has to be weed-free hay. So you have to make sure you have access to weed-free. If you don't, you have to wait till you get into Montana and then buy your hay there, because we're not allowed to be bringing in weeds to the lands that we're going into. Out by me, I live on the Pacific Northwest. We have a company called Standley that actually packages and compresses hay, and it is certified weed-free. It comes with its special binding. I always make sure I keep the binding so people know if I were to get inspected for traveling and they say, let me see where your hay is, it's got my weed-free binding on it, so they know that I'm legal. So that is something you will need to look into if you're traveling cross country to come on this ride, as most of us are. I mean, that's why we're coming on this ride. We're looking at new places and going on an adventure. So it's something you want to look into. But anything you need for your own horse's creature comforts, you want to bring that. So remember, we're in the mountains, so we're going to have temperature changes. You're going to want to have your horse ready for all climate changes. I bring fly sheets, spring sheets, rain sheets, and winter blankets. So they have more clothes than I do, but that'll be I'm getting off on another tangent. So when you come on the ride, Saturday, you get there, you allow your horses to rest, you get to rest, sleep in. It's the last day you get to sleep in before things start. Well, Sunday, and Monday you're gonna be up early. So Sunday starts with dinner, we have our announcements, and then get a good night's sleep, and the next morning you're gonna get up. Breakfast starts at 6. The crew's gonna be up way earlier before then. You'll hear their generator kick on, and they will call us to dinner. Why do I keep calling it dinner? Because I like breakfast for dinner. They'll be calling us to breakfast at 6, and breakfast is a hot breakfast. We usually have eggs or bacon or sausage, pancakes or French toast, some sort of delicious carby something. The steel cut cowboy oatmeal is delicious. Fruits and cereals and sometimes rolls. I mean, it just depends on what they've got to put out. But there's something for everybody. If you have dietary restrictions, you're gonna let them know when you enroll on the ride what your requirements are, so you can make sure they have food for you, so you won't get left out. When you eat your breakfast, you want to also make sure you head over to the lunch table and grab your brown bag and excuse me, load that up with your goodies. They're really good about giving you a variety of sandwiches. You get a choice between white or wheat, and you'll have different meats like ham, roast beef, something else, turkey. I always go for the peanut butter and jelly. So there's snacks, there's salty, there's sweet, there's fruit. So drink boxes, so things that you can have out on the trail, like trail mix. Get your bag loaded up, and we'll have pointers on things that you can use to help keep your sandwiches from getting smooshy and stuff. But anyway, make sure you don't forget your lunch, because it's off to the side and a lot of the new people don't know to pick up lunch bags. The other thing too that a lot of new people don't know about is for meals, bring a tray. Bring a tray. It's going to make it so much easier for you, because you're going to have more than one plate, and your silverware, and you're juggling everything, and the plates aren't, it's Dixieware. It's not they have good plates, but you just don't want to be losing your dinner. So get a tray. Once you're done eating, you go back and get your horse ready. Horse should already be eating, give him its breakfast before you get yours. And then while he's munching, you can go ahead and start brushing, saddle up, because at about 20 minutes to 8 o'clock, the scouts are going to come riding through camp telling you it's getting time to go, and they're going to tell you mount up. So your trailer's got to be as all packed together as it can be and ready to go, and then you're going to get up on your horse at 8 o'clock. All the riders are going to head out of camp. So there's going to be water troughs all over the campsite, so that you can, and it'll be at every campsite. It's going to have big old Rubbermaid water troughs so your horses have water. Make sure they get water before they head out, and then out on the trail you go. And then when all the riders are out of camp, that's when the ballet begins. So what happens then is everybody that is moving their rig from campsite to campsite, they're going to pack up their rigs. They're going to make sure that all their buckets are put away, all their campsites cleaned up. They're going to take their pitchforks and clean all the poop and spread it around so we're not leaving big piles everywhere. We practice leave no trace. We do the best we can. We're in there with over 100 horses. We have to do the best we can and return that land back to what it was when we got there. So we clean up our campsite. All of our garbages get collected. We get in our rigs and we wait. Because as soon as breakfast is done, camp crew is putting all of the stoves and cooking equipment away. They're assembling the stage and packing it up. Everything's getting all stored away, but the crew has to leave first because of the same reason I explained earlier. So crew leaves first, and then once the crew leaves and heads out, you've got permission to follow them. If you're driving, you want to make sure you follow the vehicle in front of you. You do not want to get lost out here. Some of these roads are narrow, some of these are forestry roads. There's not a lot of directional signs. There's no road signs. So if you lose the trailer in front of you, you could be lost. And now you're going to have to try to figure out where camp is on your own. And you'll be also, if you take a wrong turn, all those people behind you are going to be taking a wrong turn too, because you know what they're going to do? They're going to follow you. So make sure you follow the truck in front of you. And then when you get into the next camp, you'll be directed by the camp crew. It's another reason why they have to get there first. You'll be directed by the camp crew on where to park, and they'll park you. Listen to them, because if they tell you to go a certain way and they go swing wide, it's because there's a rock right there or something that's going to snag your plumbing or something. So they're watching out for you, and they're going to help you get you in a good spot. So they'll park you. Then you can get out and you can do everything you needed to do, whether you want to level the trailer, unload it, put buckets out with water for the horses for when they come back in, get hay bags ready for horses when they come back in, put your awning out, put your lounger out, take a nap, whatever it is you want to do. Because now you have the rest of the day until the horses come in before there's a whole lot going on. So if you've got a fishing license, go fishing. Want to go hiking? Go hiking. Sit back, read a book. Go visit with people, meet friends. Bub and Carlene will have scavenger hunts, and I think they're planning on having more games in camp this year. So there's gonna be stuff to do. It'll be fun. So we can talk about that in another video as well. So while we're out on the trail, we're gonna be riding. We'll take about a half-hour lunch break halfway through the day, and then when we come back into camp, then we're all rejoined together, and usually we'll have dinner. So dinner's at 6. And we get together. Everyone eats dinner together in a group up by the stage, and then we'll have announcements, any updates we need to have, and then we try our darn best to have an educational speaker of some sort. We love to have the Nez Perce elders come talk to us, any historical presenters, United States Forest Service has come to talk to us about the region. I've always had really nice, really interesting topics and interesting people, cool stories. Lots of things to learn, and so you don't want to miss those presentations. And then after the presentations are over, then Marcus Dominguez will pull out the music, and everyone will start dancing. So lots of fun doing that. And then the dancing goes 10:30 at night. The last day of the week, it's gonna go longer. But then everyone goes to bed because you got to get up the next day and do it all over again. So that's kind of how it goes. So you're just gonna progress to each camp. So each night you're in a different camp. The crew really tries so hard to get us in some really nice areas. We've been in some because of necessity. We've been in rock quarries, which aren't, beautiful, but it's somewhere to be. It gets us, a place to lay our heads down. But some of these places have been on vistas. You just overlook the gorge. We were overlooking Hell's Canyon one year, and the sunset just looked like the sky was on fire. So we have some really pretty places that we get to lay our heads to rest. We have some people that will put out their cots and just sleep out underneath the stars. If you have any problems in camp, you just go ask your neighbor for help. I've taken in some people whose, tent didn't work really well and the weather was too cold or too wet, and we try to take care of each other. So it's a family, it's a community. If you don't know something, just ask. If you need something, just ask. If you're not sure about something, that's what we're here for. So what we just want you to do is come out and have a good time on this ride and share the experience that it is. So that's a typical day, and that's kind of what I want to just share with you is, what exactly happens? How does this work? I forgot to mention that if you're tent camping and you're not bringing your rig with you, don't worry, we'll take care of you. So we have our storage, our cargo trailer, and so anyone that's tent camping and it doesn't have a support vehicle at all, the club is your support vehicle. So you'll pack up your stuff and it'll get picked up and delivered to the next site, and then you'll just gather it up from where the storage trailer is, and then you can set it up wherever you want. So your stuff's gonna get moved too, so you don't have to worry about that. Also, this is why you should write things down. On Sunday, if you aren't taking your rig from campsite to campsite, so if you do not have a driver, then you need to take your stuff. You need to load your rig up and get in the caravan that's going to go to destination camp. So everyone rides to destination camp together. They hop on a shuttle, they come back to camp. And that way, if you're tent camping, by the time you get to camp on Friday, that's where your trailer is going to be, and you'll have your rig there. So it already have been moved because you moved it. That happens on Sunday. So that's the other reason why you have to be there Sunday if you're not using your rig. And again, because we're out on the trail riding while the camp is moving, you cannot do both. So if you're going to ride, you need to have a driver to move your rig. If you do not have a driver to move your rig, then you need to tent camp, okay? If you have any questions regarding any of this information, please reach out to me, Kristen Ryder. I am on the Chief Joseph Trail Riders page. I am on the Chief Joseph Trail Ride Inc. Facebook page. I can be reached through the chiefjosephtrailride.org website, or you can just private message me, Kristen Ryder. My icon is me on Raiden at the battlefield in front of the American flag raised at half-mast. So I'd love to meet you, love to talk to you about all things Chief Joseph Trail Ride. More topics to come, but this is almost now a half hour long, and it is late, and I am sick, and I have to work tomorrow. So I'm gonna leave it at that, and until we meet again, happy trails.